Fired up this morning. Yesterday I pulled nomination papers for mayor and city council for obviously the city of Fall River, and it's already like this weird thing where local radio is just like pretending it didn't happen. They're talking about Sam Sutter and Paul Coogan and some other guy who got 50 votes last time pulled. They just conveniently leave my name out of it. And then also I'm being told I can't call in to correct it because there's an FCC rule that says equal time means they have to censor everyone equally. So it's just really crazy. WSAR keeps putting out these commercials. 100 years of live radio. Sounds like 100 years of lies when you listen to it. But I've been getting hung up on and censored on local political radio for 10 years, right? Call it 9 years, since 2014. I can't even count how many times. As soon as you start to talk, sense and destroy the propaganda that they're saying, hang right up on you. And then when you go and pull, the scariest part about that is when you go and pull nomination papers to actually run for office, to actually try to make a difference and get on that platform, then they just say you can't talk on the radio. And again, they say this equal time thing, which they're claiming the FCC is protecting us by not letting people running for office speak, which is really scary. But again, I've already experienced this so many times. But last night when I was going to bed, I asked my wife, because everyone keeps saying, "Oh, Jordan, you seem like this cool, calm, and collected version of yourself." But then I get fired up immediately. So I asked my wife, I'm like, "Jen, how should I try to approach this?" And last night she's like, "I like the cool, calm, and collective side." But when I get involved in this stuff, it gets me extremely fired up. And I have my buddy Josh is texting me at 5:30 this morning. He's fired up. It's pretty scary right now. And like I told him, my biggest pet peeve is when I hear about these elections and Democrats and Republicans. Oh, this is the most important election ever, which is a total lie, because no matter who wins out of Democrats or Republicans, the exact same thing's going to happen. They're going to raise the debt ceiling. They're going to make your money worth less. They're going to make you poorer and poorer, and lessen your quality of life in this country. But it's gotten to the point now when you see like the Russia and China and Saudi Arabia, all the BRICS countries, they've all woke up to say the biggest way to hurt this country is to stop using our money, because our money is worthless. We've printed so many trillions of dollars of it, we can't even pay back all the money we borrowed. We can't even pay the interest payments. I think since 21 into 2022, just the interest payments alone grew like another $150 billion a year just on the interest. They don't even pay the interest payments. They just keep borrowing more and printing more. And how that, again, I run for local office, and it's like, they're going to say, Jordan, they want to argue about, should we have should we double the school committee's pay to $7,000? They want to talk about these like local issues that have, should we have a tourism director? That's what they want to talk about. Meanwhile, I just called into WSAR. I said, hey, my state rep was just on your radio station a couple days ago saying we're so lucky to have all the food pantries that we have, because so many people in Fall River can't afford food and can't afford housing. And I made a comment like that a couple weeks ago on the radio, and I'm sure the guy who owns the station and Sue who runs it, they had a heart attack, that I'm saying how all our politicians are doing really well, and the poor people in the city are going to them asking for help, asking for more food stamps, more Section 8 housing, because they can't even sustain. So that's the real issue that's going on, is how everyone's being impoverished by inflation because our politicians just keep printing and borrowing more money. But again, it's added to with the censorship. When someone wants to come in and talk about real issues, they fight you tooth and nail. And I just think I heard it described to me as I have to pay for political advertising. That's kind of their rationale or something too. So I might even contact the FCC and my congressman and say, hey, this weird thing, how like once you run for office, you end up getting censored. It seems like that's completely contrary to First Amendment. But again, it's nothing new. I've been doing it. I've been fighting that for 10 years. A lot of censorship locally. At least the Herald News yesterday printed that I did pull papers for both offices, so I'll give them a little credit. But again, as I go forward on this whole thing, politically wise, my biggest concern is you put on the news now, we're all going to be impoverished because our money is worth less. You see that by the increase in prices. I think $1 has 3 cents of purchasing power. I just posted a video yesterday about how our money's been destroyed. Right now I'm listening to, if you want to hear a good book about it, The Creature from Jekyll Island. See how all these global banking cartels came together 110 years ago in 1913, right? And that's how this whole thing started. So again, it's kind of talking above, you know, the normal issues that people talk about, but this is actually things that now it's leading to, again, when you watch the news, they're talking about World War III, all this Russia stuff and China. They talk about it so cavalierly, which is really scary. But that will impact Fall River more than anything, right? Because we haven't had a real war since Vietnam. And I define a real war in this country. Someone who went to Iraq, I define a real war as when they steal your kids in a draft and go send them to die in some country. That would certainly happen in World War III. So if you have kids in Fall River, you might want to kind of pay attention to what these politicians are doing. Why is it involving the city of Fall River? These criminals in the White House and in Congress, they can't keep up the charade unless they have foot soldiers like Paul Coogan. When they want to lock down the country, they use local boards of health to shut down businesses and paralyze everybody and control everything. Give everybody a bunch of fake money, $600 a week or whatever, to not live your lives. It's just a real scary place, and that's where I started it too. They talk about, oh, it's a really important election. That's usually bullshit every time they say that. But literally, when you see what Russia, China, Saudi Arabia all getting away from the U.S. dollar, that's because they know we've been pillaging the whole world by printing our fake money, and they don't have the ability to do that. So they're basically just walking away from that system. So our country's going to see a lot of pain going forward. But again, to even combat that stuff, you have to have a platform to talk about it. That's why I run for office. Local media does not like to hear from me. But I'm just going to keep doing what I got to do. So hopefully I'll be able to keep talking and we'll see what happens. Thanks.